Hello, Internet, and welcome to my review for Attack on Titan episode 44. Just want to get it out there. This was one of my favorite episodes of the series. Definitely my favorite episode of the season. It was just so incredible. Every single thing worked this week. It was fucking wild. But when we last left off, the coup had finished. And so Rod was giving Historia some more of her backstory with Frida and memory wiping. Meanwhile, Levi squad came to the chapel. We also found out how Frida died. She was killed by Grisha, who was seemingly then eaten by Eren, which was a plot twist extraordinaire. And then Levi squad was about to invade, and that's where this episode immediately kicks up, with Rod trying to kickstart the ritual by injecting Historia with the Titan serum, to turn her into a Titan so that she can then eat Eren, because it's only with the Reiss blood that, the whatever power, the memory altering thing comes into effect. So that's the first thing we find out. I think it's the first thing we find out. I find that out sometime. But no, the first part is all about Rod is like, Frida's still kind of alive in Eren, you can see her again if you eat Eren. And then we kind of leave that whole storyline at bay for a little bit, so that we can have a kick-ass fight scene between the Levi squad and the Kenny squad, the anti-personnel squad. And their strategy is so smart, for one thing. Like they throw open the explosive barrels and have Sasha shoot them all with fire arrows to fill the room with smoke, and then throw in some more of the smoke signals from the first two seasons. All this have this huge smoke filled room because Armin is figuring out all the weaknesses of the ODM guns, including they have to fire the same way the anchors are going, so that everyone sneaks around to behind them, and they can only fire one or two shots where they have to reload. The strategy is really well thought out and is all really fucking good. And then, Connie gets into a bit of a scuffle with some of the anti-personnel guys. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a big Sasha Connie shipper. I don't even know how it started, but I just love them together. They're so much fun. And so when Sasha shot the arrow through the person coming to kill Connie, my heart soared. My heart soared. I loved it so much. And then, so after that we cut to Levi. And for a quick moment, it's right before that kick-ass fight with Kenny that I'll get to in a moment. But right before that, we see his eyes glow. And we see the little lightning effects that we kind of saw when Mikasa flashed back to her fight with the slavers way back in episode 6. So, are those his Ackerman powers coming into play? We still don't really know anything about the Ackerman powers whatsoever. So I'm really curious as to what all that's about. But yeah, the Ackerman powers are still unknown enough to really don't know what to take of any scene where they might be in. But then we get the Kenny versus Levi fights, and in any other episode, that would be the highlight of the episode. It was badass. It was dynamic. It was fast paced. It was the 360 degrees fights of the ODM gear being put to its best use in ages. I think this is the first time we've had such an intense fight between two ODM users, right? It was fucking cool. The way they were swinging around each other, and they were shooting, and Kenny was shooting at him, and the whole thing was just incredible to watch. But in the end, Kenny retreats into the inner sanctum to go help out with the Reiss ritual and not steal the scene. That's a lie. He absolutely steals the scene. Before that happens, Hanji dies. Maybe Hanji dies. She's shot with the ODM guns, and she hits the crystal pillar and drops. And is she dead? I don't normally, I know Titan likes to kill off its characters like there's no tomorrow, but there's normally some gravity to a character's death. That's what makes the deaths in Titan generally so good, is that they're they feel like they mean something. Even minor bit characters like Mike Zacharias, had this big dramatic death scene with the Beast Titan in premiere season 2. It feels kind of odd if Hanji died there, but it would also feel odd if she survived that fall. I don't know. I don't quite know what to take of the Hanji bit, and that's really the one thing I don't really know about this episode. But that's really all the time we get with Levi Squad, because the entire rest of the episode is dealt with the incredible scene with Historia, Rod, and Eren, and Kenny, for good measure, as Rod gives us the first bit of detail with the history of the walls. And that is that they were the Titan that Frida and then Grisha and then Eren has, which is apparently called the Founding Titan, is the same crystal powers that created the cavern also created the walls, which leaves some questions for me, like what's up with the wall titans? Where I think of like all titans have that kind of crystallization powers. Because we saw Amy crystallize herself back in season 1, and so when we found out that the walls were made of the Titan crystals, I figured that all the wall titans had somehow crystallized themselves, and that was how humanity was surviving. So we got a bit of the mystery of the walls starting to be unwrapped, but there's still more than enough mystery for people who are all in on the wall mystery. But it's nice to see that layer start to get peeled away. In a big mystery show like this, it's really nice to see those grand schemes start to be slowly unpacked. And every little bit is great. But as that's going on, Kenny shows up. And at that point, that's the moment, as I mentioned earlier, that Rod says, the memory-altering power is useless without the Reiss bloodline. And Kenny's like, what the fuck? I was gonna steal Eren. That is fucking bullshit. And so Kenny's position goes on this dramatic shift as soon as he realizes that he cannot win. He goes from, this direct antagonist character to a role I can really only associate with late Shippuden Orochimaru, where he's not really invested in the outcome. He just wants to see what the fuck happens. Which is great. I'm a huge fan of late Shippuden Orochimaru, and even Boruto Orochimaru, where he's doing kind of the same thing, but he's a bit nicer about it. But yeah, that's a big thing. And so throughout this whole scene, Rod is trying to talk Historia into taking the Titan Serum. And at first, Historia is like, yeah, this will save humanity. I'm the only one that can do this. I'm the only one that can free the Titans. And throughout all of this, I'm really curious about really all of these characters' motivations. Kenny I pretty much laid out before, but like Historia, she definitely goes through some kind of shift, and her motivations are a lot clearer by the end of the episode. But even earlier on, it kind of felt like she was trying to fool Rod. Maybe it's just because I thought Historia was a good person, which she kind of really isn't by the end of the episode, in a lot of ways. A great character, not necessarily the best of people. But it seemed like she really had bought into it until she started to realize, like, why hadn't we done this before? Why has we gone through 100 years and no one has tried to save humanity? And apparently there's something that happens when the races get a hold of the Founding Titan that makes them realize why they shouldn't save humanity. Because we see, Rod's father didn't want to do it. Uri, who's his younger brother, didn't want to do it. There's all this stuff going on that I don't really know about exactly. But I'm also kind of curious if Rod wants to save, like, where Rod fits into all this. We know as a kid Rod wanted to save humanity. But I'm not entirely sure if he, in the end, wants Historia to actually save humanity. I don't know. But everything Rod says works wonders on Eren. He's like, yeah, fucking kill me. That's what it takes to save humanity. I'm willing to sacrifice myself. And I mean, I guess he didn't earn that suicidal maniac nickname for nothing back in season 1. Yeah. Eren is what Eren is. But, like, Historia, like, fucks off. Like, no. And the best moment of the episode, hands down, Historia's, like, flashing back to Ymir, and Ymir's "live a life you can be proud of" line, which is really one of my favorite Ymir moments. and like when the serum is about to go into her arm and Historia slaps it away, I fucking clapped. I was like, fuck, yes. It was such a badass moment. And then Historia goes up to free Eren because, like, fuck this bullshit. He's not gonna eat him today. And Eren is like, no, kill me and save the world. And Historia's like, who the fuck would want to save the world? Like, Historia as a character is so incredibly interesting to me just because she doesn't really... She's almost a villain. Like, if her mindset is almost a villain's mindset. You know, that who gives a shit? Life sucks, so what? Honestly, I really think she's picking up from Ymir. Because her whole attitude there kind of reminds me of Ymir's iconic, that's out there, the Titans won't judge you for anything, and then Historia has, because they're too busy trying to eat us. Well, everyone's got a few problems. They seem to have very similar mindsets there, so I definitely feel like even with Ymir beyond the walls at this point, her influence is still definitely rubbing off on Historia in a really interesting way. And then, the big moment of the episode, Rod, with a single lick of the Titan serum, becomes a Titan. And that's where we leave off. And as great a cliffhanger as that is, it was a fucking incredible moment. My jaw dropped when I saw it. I do have a question. If all it takes is a single lick, why do they use so much of it per person? You know, you could just, you know, have like a dog bowl, you know, and have them lick it. A single lick, and they're a Titan. You don't need to waste that much of it. You know, if they're planning for, you know, all of time humanity is behind the walls, then you don't want to use so much of it extra. I mean, maybe they have, like, shit tons of Titan serum, but, like, it just seemed a little extra. But other than that, and the if Hanji's alive or dead, so it just felt kind of weird. This was a phenomenal episode of Titan. Probably definitely my favorite of the season. Maybe my favorite of the series. Up there with Utgard Castle. It was fucking incredible. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this episode as much as I did. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, kick an ass and I'll see you in the future. Bye.